Hello Internet, so nice to see you. Writing a melody over a chord progression is not particularly hard, and there are several music theory approaches. And if you want to see them, you just let me know in the comments and I will do a video or 2 or 20 about that. But not all music is made of chords. Some rock and some metal, for instance, is not made of chords in any meaningful sense, because those kind of music are based on riffs. They're based on other melodies that are repeated throughout the song. But how do you write a melody on a riff? How do you know what to sing over a riff? Well, there is actually a very simple trick to write melodies on riff, and I'm going to show you a lesson where I explain to the student exactly how to do this. Here we go.
I have a problem. and
And the solution is more cowbell? Sorry, I couldn't resist. So if I understand correctly, your problem is essentially creating a melodic line on top of a riff so that they work together and they don't conflict.
yeah,
Because the riff seems to take too much attention to itself, and you find it easier to sing or improvise a vocal melody on chords than on the riff.
exactly.
And so you want to see, can you instead create a chord progression, sing on that, and then transform the chord progression into a riff? Sometimes you can translate from a riff to a chord progression and vice versa. Okay? But most of the time, you actually can't. Okay? You're gonna simply write something different, but they will not really be the same thing at all. Because most of the time when you play a riff, you're not playing a full triad, and sometimes you're not even implying a triad, okay? I mean, take a Metallica song, just because everybody knows their riff, okay? Sometimes, when they chug on that low E, okay, it's an E minor. Oops. But sometimes it's not an E minor, it's just an E power chord. And sometimes it's not even that, okay? I mean, when they play stuff like, what chord is that? There's an E note, another E note, a B flat note, and then an A note. How do we transform these into chords? We don't. This is not a chord progression. It's a melody. It's a melody we use as a rhythm part. But not all rhythm parts are chord progressions, you see. See, that's what I call, it's one of what I call the great fictions of music theory today, is that everything is made of chords. Okay? It's not true. It's absolutely, completely not true, okay? So, you play your riff. The riff as you play it normally, when you compose it, it's an interesting piece of music, okay? You typically create the riff so that it's interesting to listen to, and when you repeat it, it's still interesting, okay? That's what a riff is, okay? Since there is already a lot of interest in that little part, it's very hard to put a melody on top. Because either you're singing the exact same thing because the riff is taking you, you have the riff in mind, okay? But even if you're singing something different, it's gonna be maybe just long notes, nothing that actually will sound like a melody. So the first thing you should do is to simplify your riff, okay? How do you do that? You take the main notes of the riff. You know what are the main notes of the riff. So first of all, eliminate all duplication, meaning if you're playing one note more than once, play it only once. Okay? So if your riff was, I don't know, I'm playing two notes, E and G. Good, your harmony is E and G. Now I can't play the low E and the low G at the same time, but your harmony is E and G, so that's what it is. If your riff instead was E and F, okay, I just play the E note, and when I go, you just play the F note. Okay, so your riff, when you simplify it to the bone, It's just this. Now, on these, you can sing. Those are not chords. It's not E minor F. It's just the E note, just the F note. But on these, you can sing. On these, you can create a melody. Well, it's much harder to create a melody when the guitar is going. Because you're taken by the rhythm of the riff, the exact pattern of the riff, etc. So again, you simplify it, record the track with the simplified version of the lick, the riff, and then sing on top, create your melody, etc. Then later, when you arrange the song, you can decide to either try to see if the original riff works under that, or write a different riff using those notes, the accompaniment notes. So maybe your original riff was so boom, 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 boom. Okay, this is a simplified version, and maybe you create your melody, and now under the melody you play something that has these same notes but in a different way. So now it's different, but it's similar because the main note that you are hitting are similar. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is to develop this kind of ability of taking a riff, simplify it, or enrich it again, and see where this takes you. And you can create several versions of what is basically the same quote-unquote harmony, okay, which is not a harmony because it's just an E note and an F note. It's not a harmony. There's no harmony. It's a single line. But start using that, whatever you want to call it. You can create different version of the same riff, and using that super simplified version, it's easier to write a melody on top. Try to do this on your own riffs, and you'll see that you will be surprised by the results. It's a simple technique, but it completely changes the perspective you have on your own music. And if you need help with riffing, writing interesting riff, finding interesting notes, I recommend you have a look at my course, Master of the Modes. Master of the Modes is not a book, it's a complete video course written by guitar players for guitar players to understand scales and modes on guitar. We cover all topics like how to visualize those modes, how to play them, how to navigate the whole fretboard, how to use them in improvisation, how to change key on the fly, how to change mode on the fly, and how to use those modes for a little bit of songwriting and especially improvisation. If you have just a minute, check out Master of the Modes at the link on the top right. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe and click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not let you know when I put up a new video. And if you have any comment, feedback, suggestions, write them down in the comment. I enjoy reading from you and I make videos on your suggestions. This is Tommaso Zilio of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy!